Now we can start with customer invoices. In this video, we're gonna see how you can easily record your invoices on the fly, how you can create your invoices directly from sales orders, how you can manage advance payments, and how you can send those invoices to your clients. Once the billing module installed, you can create your invoice on the fly. Once in the invoice form, you can select first a client, let's say Gotham Auto. You can select a fiscal position in order to automatically adapt the taxes of your invoice depending on the localization of your client. Now we can select some invoice lines, for instance, unlimited support on web and e-commerce application. Here I see the price of the product is not set, so I can enter the price manually. And I can add as many lines as I want. For instance, web and e-commerce users. Yeah. Then I can set some payment terms. The payment terms will be used to manage payments and follow-ups. Let's say payment in 30 days. On the top of that, you can add some extra information to print on the invoice, like see terms and conditions on our website. Now if we look at the second tab, Order Info, we can here set some extra information to print on the document as well. For instance, a bank account for the client to pay this invoice. You can set a due date manually. By default, the due date is computed based on the payment terms selected. And then you can manually enter some references for this invoice, like source documents and reference descriptions. Finally, in the payment tab, you will retrieve here all the payments reconciled with this invoice. Now this invoice is ready to print. I can click Validate. This document is now an official billing document with a unique reference computed from the sequence defined in your settings, and an invoice date, which is by default today if you do not set any date before ends. Once the invoice is validated, you can send it by email to your client or print it in order to send it by post. Let's print it to have a look at the design of this report. Here we get a professional PDF including all the information to provide to your clients. Here you retrieve your company address, the address of your client, the reference, the invoice date, the lines, a total without taxes, a total for taxes. Regarding taxes, you have also a summary tab giving the total tax amount for each tax rate selected in the invoice. You retrieve your comments, payment terms, and fiscal position. You can also send it by email in order to directly discuss with the client through the chatter. Let's click on Send by email. And of course here you have to enter an email address for this client, gotham@gotham.com For instance, here is the default message you get. Of course, you can customize it and translate it as you like. You can notice also that the document is attached as a PDF document. To edit the template, open it. Once in the template form, you can edit the content in HTML as you like. You can add also automatic attachment like terms and conditions, and you can manage the translations, of course, if other languages are installed in your system. Once done, you can click Save and send to your client. Here is how to create an invoice on the fly. It's very easy, isn't it? But actually we can do even better, since Odoo is a set of business applications that are integrated with each other. In this case, this company is also using the sales applications. So instead of recording new invoices from scratch, we can start from sales order in order to automatically generate the content of your invoices. To do so, let's go to sales. Let's have a look at the sales order. Here we retrieve some sales orders that have to be invoiced. Let's open the first one of the buyer food channel clients. To create an invoice from a sale order, just click on Create Invoice. To create this invoice, 4 options. The first one is to create an invoice for the wholesale order. The other ones are dedicated to partial invoices. Let's first start with a complete invoicing. Let's click on Create and View Invoice. And here is what you get. An invoice automatically filled in and ready to use. I can validate and now send to the client. Now let's imagine you would like to manage advance invoices. Nothing more simple with Odoo. By clicking on Create Invoice, you have the choice between invoicing a percentage. Here you can type the percentage amount, for instance 50%. This percentage will be applied on the total amount of your sale order. You can also manage more advanced prepayment, for instance, thanks to the fixed price. With the fixed price, you can set an advance amount, a specific advance amount to invoice. You can also link this advance amount to a specific advance payment product. Advance payment. And the aim of using such a product is to automatically compute VAT in your advance invoice. You can also select some other lines and start the invoicing, for instance, with only the first line of the sales order. So here, let's select the second option, the percentage. By typing 50%, here I get an invoice including the half of the total amount without VAT. If you want to add the VAT in your advance invoice, you have to select the third option with the fixed price. Now, as soon as I have to create the final invoice, I open my sales order again and I click on create invoice again. By selecting the first option, invoice the wholesale order, odoo is gonna invoice the balance. Let's click on the creation button again. And here is the final invoice, including the content of your sales order plus a line dedicated to the advance payment. It's very easy, isn't it? Now you can, of course, validate those invoices. From sales order, you can also manage batch invoicing. Let's imagine you have dozens of sales order to invoice. You can select all those invoices from here and click Make Invoices from the More button. Here you get an option to group all the sales order dedicated to the same partner in order to generate only one invoice by client. And then you can click on Create Invoice. Yes, of course, here the only sales order I can invoice is the first one, so it doesn't make sense. Well, that's it for creating your first invoice. Now it's you to play.